You're standing in a hospital lobby, surrounded by your entire family. Your mother, your father, your perfect golden child brother. They're all gathered for the grand unveiling of a memorial plaque, honoring the anonymous donor who saved this hospital from closing its doors forever. The entire community is there. News cameras, local politicians, everyone's buzzing with curiosity. Who is this mysterious benefactor? And then, the curtain drops. Your name is revealed, in gleaming bronze letters. $2.5 million. Your contribution. Your sacrifice. Your success. The same success they told you you'd never have. The room goes silent. Your mother's face drains of color. Your father's jaw literally drops. And your brother? The successful doctor they've been worshipping for the last 15 years? He looks like he's about to pass out. This is my story. If you've ever been the black sheep of your family, if you've ever been told you weren't good enough, if you've ever fantasized about proving everyone who doubted you absolutely, devastatingly wrong, then you need to hit that subscribe button right now. Drop a like on this video, because what you're about to hear, it's the kind of poetic justice that'll give you goosebumps. Let's dive in. My name is Elena Matthews. Well, that's what I'm calling myself for this story anyway. And for as long as I can remember, I was the disappointment. Let me paint you a picture of my childhood. My family wasn't poor, far from it. We were comfortable, upper middle class. My father, Richard, was a respected surgeon. My mother, Patricia, was a nurse who later became a hospital administrator. Medicine wasn't just a career in our house. It was a religion. Every dinner conversation revolved around medical journals, hospital politics, the latest breakthrough in cardiac surgery. My parents didn't just work in healthcare, they lived it. They breathed it. And they expected their children to do the same. Then there was my older brother, Marcus. Oh, Marcus. Perfect, brilliant, golden Marcus. He was 18 months older than me, and from the moment he could read, he was obsessed with following in our father's footsteps. While other kids played video games, Marcus was reading Grey's Anatomy. While I was watching cartoons on Saturday mornings, he was shadowing doctors at our local hospital. He graduated high school as valedictorian. Full ride to Johns Hopkins, straight into their medical program. By the time he was 32, he was already a practicing cardiologist with his own patients, his own office, and our parents' endless praise. Me? I was different. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't a bad student. I pulled solid B's, the occasional A, but I wasn't Marcus. And in the Matthews household, if you weren't Marcus, you were less. I remember being 14 years old, sitting at the dinner table, when my guidance counselor's report came up. My mother slid the paper across to my father with this tight-lipped expression. You know the one, the look that says, "We need to talk about this." "Elena," my father said, not even looking up from his plate. "Your counselor says you're interested in business?" The way he said business, it was like I'd told him I wanted to become a professional clown. Or a drug dealer. His nose actually wrinkled. "Yeah," I said, trying to sound confident even though my heart was pounding. "I really like the entrepreneurship class, and I was thinking—" "Thinking what?" my mother interrupted. Her voice was sharp, clinical. "That you'd waste your potential on—" "What exactly? Marketing, sales? Pushing products nobody needs?" I felt my cheeks burn. "It's not like that. I'm good at it. I like solving problems, finding creative solutions. Medicine is solving problems," my father said firmly. "Real problems, life and death, not quarterly earnings reports." Marcus, sitting across from me, didn't even look up from his medical textbook. He just smirked, this tiny, superior little smile that made me want to throw my mashed potatoes at his face. "Elena," my mother continued, her voice softening in that fake, condescending way. "You're young. You don't understand yet, but trust us. Medicine is a noble profession, stable, respected. Business? That's for people who couldn't cut it in the sciences." Couldn't cut it. Those words burrowed into my chest like a splinter. And over the years, they festered. Fast forward to college. I went to a decent state university. Not Johns Hopkins. God forbid I even try to follow Marcus's path. I deliberately chose a different route. I majored in business administration with a minor in computer science. I joined the entrepreneurship club, started a small e-commerce side hustle selling vintage clothing online. Nothing huge, but I was making a few $100 a month. I was happy. My parents? They were humiliated. Thanksgiving of my junior year. That's when everything came to a head. The whole extended family was there. Aunts, uncles, cousins, my grandmother who'd flown in from Florida, and of course, the entire conversation centered around Marcus and his residency at this prestigious hospital in Boston. He's already published 2 papers, my mother announced proudly, passing around printouts like they were sacred texts. His attending says he's one of the most promising young cardiologists she's ever mentored. Everyone oohed and awed. My aunt literally clutched her pearls. Then my uncle, my father's brother Robert, turned to me with this patronizing smile. "And what about you, Elena? What are you up to these days?" I should have lied. I should have mumbled something vague about classes, but I was proud of what I'd built, so I told the truth. Actually, I just launched a tech startup with 2 classmates. We developed an app that helps small businesses manage inventory and sales analytics. We've already got 12 beta clients, and we're in talks with... An app? My father's voice cut through the room like a scalpel. You're playing around with phone apps while your brother is saving lives. The table went quiet. You could hear the grandfather clock ticking in the hallway. I'm not playing around, Dad. This is a legitimate business. We've already secured seed funding. Seed funding, he repeated mockingly. Do you know how many startups fail in their first year? 90%. 90%, Elena. You're gambling with your future. My mother chimed in, her voice dripping with disappointment. We just don't understand why you insist on going down this path. You're intelligent. You could have been a doctor, a pharmacist, something meaningful. Something meaningful. My grandmother, bless her heart, tried to intervene. Now, Richard, plenty of successful people have gone into business. Mother, with all due respect, this isn't about success. It's about contribution, purpose. Elena is wasting her potential on something so trivial. Trivial. I looked around the table, at my cousins avoiding eye contact, at my aunt whispering something to my uncle, at Marcus, who wasn't even trying to hide his smug satisfaction anymore. And something inside me snapped. Not in an explosive way. Not in a screaming, throwing dishes kind of way. It was quieter than that. Colder. I stood up, folded my napkin, placed it carefully beside my plate. You know what? I said, my voice eerily calm. You're right. I'm wasting my time, here, at this table, trying to prove myself to people who've already decided I'm not worth anything. My mother's eyes widened. Elena, no, I'm done. I'm done apologizing for not being Marcus. I'm done pretending I care about your approval. And I'm especially done listening to a bunch of people who measure a person's worth by whether they have MD after their name. I grabbed my coat and walked out. I didn't go back for Christmas, or the next Thanksgiving, or the one after that. For 3 years, I had minimal contact with my family. Birthday cards, awkward phone calls that lasted exactly 4 minutes. They'd ask about my little business project, and I'd give vague answers and change the subject. They had no idea what I was actually building. Here's what they didn't know. That little app my co-founders and I developed, it exploded. Within 2 years, we had over 15,000 small business clients. We secured Series A funding, $2 million. Then Series B, $12 million. By year 5, we'd been acquired by a major tech company for $78 million. $78 million. My share, after investors and co-founders took their cuts. Just over $26 million. $26 million. At 29 years old, I didn't broadcast it. Didn't post about it on social media, didn't send a gloating email to my family. I just quietly became wealthy. I bought a beautiful townhouse in the city. Nothing ostentatious. I'm not the Ferrari and gold watch type. But it was mine. Every piece of furniture. Every painting, mine. I traveled. I invested. I started angel investing in other women-led startups. I built a life I was genuinely proud of. But there was still this hole. This nagging ache. Because deep down, I I still wanted them to see, to know, to realize they'd been catastrophically, humiliatingly wrong about me. And then, the universe handed me the perfect opportunity. I found out through my grandmother, the only family member I still spoke to regularly. She called me one evening, and I could hear the worry in her voice immediately. "Elena, sweetheart, I need to tell you something." My stomach dropped. "Is someone sick? Are you okay?" "I'm fine, honey, but it's St. Michael's Hospital, the one here in town, where your father worked for 30 years, where your mother was an administrator, where Marcus still does rounds twice a week. St. Michael's. The hospital that had been woven into my childhood, where I'd spent countless hours in the cafeteria doing homework while my parents finished shifts." "What about it?" I asked. "It's in trouble. Bad trouble. They're on the verge of shutting down." She explained it all: funding cuts, mismanagement, an expensive lawsuit that had drained their reserves. They were hemorrhaging money, and unless they could secure a major donor or a miracle, they'd be forced to close within 6 months. "The whole community is devastated," my grandmother said. "It's the only hospital for 50 miles. If it closes, people will have to drive over an hour for emergency care. Your father and mother are beside themselves." I listened to her talk about fundraising committees, desperate appeals to wealthy community members, the board's last-ditch efforts to find someone, anyone, who could save them. And right then, right there, an idea began to form. A beautiful, perfect, gloriously petty idea. "Grandma," I said slowly, "what if I told you I could help?" There was a pause. "Elena, sweetheart, that's kind of you. But they need millions. I know exactly what they need." I did my research, called in a few favors with financial advisors and lawyers. Within 2 weeks, I had the full picture. St. Michael's needed an immediate cash infusion of $2.5 million to stay operational and stabilize. $2.5 million. I could write that check easily. But I wasn't going to do it quietly. I contacted the hospital board directly through my lawyer. I wanted to remain anonymous initially, but with conditions. I would donate the full $2.5 million. In exchange, I wanted a memorial plaque in the main lobby, a public unveiling ceremony, and my identity would be revealed at that ceremony, not before. The board nearly tripped over themselves, agreeing. They had no idea who I was. They just knew someone was about to save their hospital. The news spread like wildfire through the community. "Anonymous donor saves St. Michael's!" The local paper ran it as front-page news. People speculated endlessly about who it could be. A reclusive millionaire? A grateful former patient? A corporation looking for good PR? My grandmother called me ecstatic. "Elena, did you hear? Someone saved the hospital. Isn't it wonderful?" "It is," I said, smiling to myself. "It really is." I asked her casually, "Is the whole family going to the unveiling ceremony?" "Oh, absolutely. Your parents are on the planning committee. Marcus is giving a speech. Everyone's going to be there." Perfect. I made my travel arrangements. Booked a hotel. Bought a gorgeous designer dress. Navy blue, elegant, powerful. Got my hair done. My nails. I wanted to look successful. Undeniably, unmistakably successful. The night before the ceremony, I barely slept. My heart was racing, not from nervousness, from pure, unadulterated anticipation. Tomorrow, everything would change. The hospital lobby was packed. I arrived early, slipping in through a side entrance. I wanted to observe before anyone recognized me. Wanted to see them in their element, clueless and comfortable, before I pulled the rug out from under them. The room was decorated beautifully. Blue and white banners, a small stage with a podium, rows of chairs filled with hospital staff, board members, local politicians, and community members. News cameras set up in the back. And there, in the front row, sat my family. My father, distinguished in his gray suit. My mother, elegant as always, clutching a program. And Marcus, looking every bit the successful doctor in his tailored navy blazer, chatting with colleagues. None of them had any idea I was even in town. The ceremony began. The hospital CEO gave a lengthy speech about resilience and community. A board member talked about the history of St. Michael's. Then Marcus took the stage. Of course he did. As a physician who practices here regularly, he began, his voice smooth and confident, I cannot express how grateful I am to our anonymous benefactor. This hospital has been a cornerstone of our community for generations. It's where I trained, where my father worked for 3 decades, where countless lives have been saved. I watched my parents beam with pride. My mother actually teared up. He continued, Whoever you are, wherever you are, thank you. You've given us more than money. You've given us hope. The audience applauded. Marcus returned to his seat, accepting handshakes and pats on the back. Then the CEO returned to the microphone. And now, she said, her voice rising with excitement, the moment we've all been waiting for. It is my profound honor to introduce you to the woman whose extraordinary generosity has saved St. Michael's Hospital. My cue. I stood up from where I'd been sitting in the back corner. Every eye in the room turned toward me as I walked down the center aisle. I watched the recognition ripple through my family's faces in real time. First, my mother. Her smile faltered. Her eyes widened. She grabbed my father's arm. Then my father. His face went from confused to shocked to something I can only describe as stricken. And Marcus. Oh, Marcus. His jaw literally dropped. His face turned red, then white, then red again. I walked up onto the stage, shook hands with the CEO, turned to face the audience. Hi, everyone, I said, my voice steady and clear. My name is Elena Matthews. You could have heard a pin drop. I grew up in this community. My father was a surgeon here. My mother worked in administration. This hospital has been part of my life since I was born, and when I heard it was in danger of closing, I knew I had to help. I paused, letting my eyes sweep across the crowd, landing deliberately on my family. Some of you might be surprised to see me here. Surprised that I'm in a position to make this kind of contribution, because, well, I didn't become a doctor. I went into business. Technology, specifically. Built a company, sold it, and now I'm fortunate enough to give back to the community that raised me. My mother's hand was over her mouth. My father looked like he was having a medical emergency himself. The CEO gestured toward the covered plaque on the wall behind us. Elena, would you like to do the honors? I smiled. I'd love to. I walked over and pulled the cord. The velvet curtain fell away, revealing a large bronze plaque with elegant engraving. St. Michael's Hospital, generously saved by Elena Matthews, donor, $2,500,000. To the community that raised me, and to every life saved within these walls. The audience erupted in applause. People stood, cameras flashed, and my family just sat there, frozen, speechless. After the ceremony, there was a reception. People swarmed me, thanking me, asking about my business, hospital staff crying and hugging me, local news asking for interviews. Through it all, I kept one eye on my family. They stood in a tight cluster near the refreshment table, whispering urgently. My mother kept dabbing her eyes with a tissue. My father's jaw was clenched so tight I thought his teeth might crack. And Marcus looked absolutely ill. Finally, they approached me. My mother spoke first, her voice shaky. Elena, sweetheart, we had no idea. No, I said pleasantly, sipping my champagne. You didn't. My father cleared his throat. This is extraordinary. We're so proud. Are you? I interrupted, my smile never wavering. Are you proud, Dad? Or are you just surprised? He stammered. Actually stammered. Richard Matthews, the man who never lost his composure, couldn't form a coherent sentence. Marcus stepped forward, trying to recover some ground. Elena, this is amazing, really. I had no idea your little startup had done so well. My little startup, I repeated slowly, was acquired for $78 million. My personal share was over $26 million. I've since doubled that through investments. So no, Marcus, not a little startup, a successful business, the kind you all told me was trivial, meaningless, a waste of my potential. The color drained from his face again. My mother reached for my arm. "Elena, please. We made mistakes. We didn't understand." "No," I said, gently pulling away. "You didn't. You didn't understand because you never tried to understand. You decided who I should be, and when I didn't fit that mold, you wrote me off, made me feel worthless, made me feel like I'd never amount to anything because I didn't want to be a doctor." Tears were streaming down her face now. "We were wrong. We were so wrong." "Yes," I agreed. "You were." My father finally found his voice. "Elena, what can we do? How can we make this right?" I looked at all three of them. These people who'd shaped my childhood, who'd made me feel small, inadequate, less than. And I felt nothing. No anger. No satisfaction, just calm. "You can't," I said simply. "You can't make it right. You can apologize, and maybe I'll accept someday. But you can't undo years of making me feel like I wasn't good enough. You can't erase the Thanksgivings I spent alone, because I couldn't bear to sit at a table where I was treated like a failure." I set down my glass. "What you can do is think about this moment. Really think about it, because I didn't do this for revenge. I didn't donate $2.5 million just to prove you wrong. I did it because this hospital matters, because this community matters, and because I could." I picked up my purse. I became exactly who I wanted to be: successful, independent, happy. And I did it without your approval, without your support. And honestly, that's the best revenge of all. I walked out of that hospital with my head held high. Did it feel good? Yeah, it felt incredible. I walked out of that hospital with my head held high. Did it feel good? Yeah, it felt incredible. But the real victory wasn't the shock on their faces. It wasn't the plaque with my name on it. It was knowing that I'd built a life I was proud of, on my own terms, despite everyone telling me I couldn't. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destruction. It's success, undeniable, unavoidable, carved in bronze success. So, what do you think? Was I right to put my name on that plaque? Was it petty, or was it perfect? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I genuinely want to know. And if this story resonated with you, if you've ever been underestimated or written off, hit that like button and subscribe. We've got tons more stories about people who proved everyone wrong in the most satisfying ways possible. Thanks for listening. And remember, never let anyone else define your worth. See you in the next one.